Thank you, Tsunami. Appreciate that terrific intro. Cinder, can you stop laughing every time I do a very professional intro into the game? What is on your mind that's so funny? Please.
You A-list is making me laugh. That was funny.
Yeah,
okay.
I was thinking the same thing.
All right. So anyway, yeah, dude, this is going to be a really fun game. I think there's a lot to talk about here. I think the panel touched on a lot of good points on this. I'm really excited from a strategic standpoint for the series, and a lot of people are going to be hyped because it's Secret versus Nigma. I just love the draft of this game. I think it was super interesting to watch because there's so many small things going on, right? It's pretty clear that Secret have thought a lot about Omniknight and what the hero does right now in Dota since it became popular. They've run it themselves as well in one of their drafts. They're kind of digging deep for some old school counters, I want to say. Both Pugna and OD really good heroes against the Omniknight because guess what? They're almost fully magic and pure damage based, and Omni doesn't have Repel anymore. He has the Heavenly Grace, so all this magic and pure damage is kind of unmitigated entirely. And then you also, instead of giving away Omni plus Sven, you take the Sven, who is a great pairing with Omni, but also good against him because he has a Stormhammer dispel that he didn't used to have 2 years ago. So there's a lot of those small things going on with that. And then as well as, let's just see some bounty runes here. I think it's going to be a 2-for-2 split. Before I end my long monologue here. OD, not a hero we see played very often, but classically good against the Omniknight. The panel pointed out against Void, it's great. It's just, I don't really have a clear favorite in this game. I just think it's very, very cool how they picked their heroes, and looking forward to some good Dota.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's been a long time since we've seen Astral into Arrow. That's the another old school kind of combination.
Classic combo.
The eventual roaming YapzOr on this Mirana. So, I mean, having said all of that, Cinderin, would you like to pick a team that you favor before a first blood occurs, thus painting your opinion?
I think you can't look past what has happened in the last week, right? We've seen Nigma get a lot better, and we've seen Secret arguably underperform, which it's kind of hard for Secret not to underperform, because if they perform to their usual level, they would need to almost win everything, right? So as soon as Secret lose a couple of games, it's quote-unquote underperforming. But just based on power level going into this, I would say Nigma is my favorite, unless I see them clearly outdrafted in the game. So since I didn't have one here, then if you force me, I'll take the Dire. But I love the Secret draft. I think it's cool, but I don't know if it's much better than what Nigma have to offer here.
Well, time will tell, young man. I mean, we should also mention that right now this is the group stage. Nigma is 3rd, and Secret is right behind them at 4th, with only a few days to go. As we're going to see a toss in the bot lane. Bloodright connects onto both. But going into, I haven't actually looked at the format because it hasn't fully updated, but I believe that 5 through 8 are lower bracket, 1 through 4 get upper bracket, and then 9 and 10 are eliminated from the tournament. So the fact that, I mean, I think Nigma they're not 100% secure top 4, but they're in pretty good position. Secret, they're almost even on games, so they're right on that threshold, but right now they are sitting on 4th. So very important series for both, nonetheless.
Yeah, and I think who's likely to get first, actually?
Viking is up there.
Pro in second. So 2 very powerful teams right now, which is awesome to see, right? It's kind of, both of those teams have, relatively speaking to these teams, have newcomer players. Viking, we keep talking about them as the new squad. Eventually you're not the new squad anymore. I mean, they've been competing at the tier 2 to tier 1 level for quite a while now without really making that big breakthrough. But they seem to be steadily claiming more and more games, and now they're on top of a big group stage with all the best teams there.
Yep, for sure. I mean, this patch has been going on for a while, but what are we, 2 weeks away from well, it's a new hero, but we assume there's a balance patch as well. How disappointed would you be if there's no balance patch to accompany the new hero? I think that kind of goes hand in hand at this stage. But everybody's super excited about that, obviously. But still seeing some new things, like you talked about Blaster in the past with the old OD, a lot of cool combos that they have here, potentially. As GH is making his way to the mid lane, has the Avatos available. He'll toss back into Weehaw with that Rocket Barrage doing massive damage, and Weehaw ends up getting the first blood as a result. Puppy a little bit too late. Either way, Decrepify wouldn't have really helped in that case.
No, it just made things worse. I mean, that's a good point too, right? As much as we talked about the magic damage that Secret have into GA, the Decrepify defensively in this game is just not very good. It's good against Void, and that's pretty much it, right? Tiny, Gyro, and Bloodseeker don't really care very much about the Decrep. They're gonna get their damage out regardless, and some of them even doing more. So Puppey has to be really careful. It's great offensively, though, for some of his heroes. But that's often what will happen when you pick Pugna this relatively early, right? The Pugna was third picked, I believe, by Secret. So Nigma obviously saw opportunity. Damn, we are doing a lot of damage here, but now he might have gone too far.
Perhaps. We got the Nether Blast to come out. Weehaw gets Decrepified now. Not able to attack as a result. Kuroki was here, of course, with the Heavenly Grace available, not even needing to expend it, though, as YapzOr looks to be going back to that top lane. Let's talk about my boy Centaur, Zai, one of the best Centaurs in the world, if I do say so myself. He
out of all two people playing it?
Cinderin, you know,
not
remember
true.
back in
not
the day?
True. That was a joke. The hero's good sometimes.
Okay, thank you. I mean, now that they've reverted him to his original self, of course he's going to be good.
Objectively speaking, in most cases, don't you think the one with Retaliate was just better? With the
it wasn't
retaliate?
Fun, okay? It wasn't,
maybe not, but it's probably better most of the time.
It doesn't matter if it's better if it doesn't fit the lore. That's all that matters. Okay. Yeah, Kuroki looks like he's going to get a courier. Oh, the arrow does connect, though. Now he's going to have to fight off YapzOr. Gets the purification off, though, as the support v support battle continues. YapzOr not with another arrow. Another 7 seconds, so Kuroki should be getting out just fine. Take a few more right clicks, though. Still does not have boots on this poor Omniknight. But looking at that mid lane, Nisha 22-13 versus Weehaw 13-6. So the CS is not even remotely close.
This is a super good matchup for OD, in my opinion. I just think it's so straightforward, right? Gyro is a short range hero, so in order to get CS, he has to get in range of Astral. You Astral him whenever he's about to get range creeps or 2 melee creeps in a row like here, and you just deny them or they expire. So I genuinely don't think Gyro can win this lane without help. And they helped him. They got him a gank. So Weehaw got that kill, the first blood bonus, as well as the faster level 6. It's still difficult for him to convert it into anything, because like imagine his aggressive play on the OD. It doesn't really exist unless either he gets a gank or the Astral is already used aggressively. But then Nisha needs to make a pretty big mistake to get caught, right? He can always defensively Astral against Call Down and a Rocket Barrage and probably be fine. Just needs to not
going in deep. We'll get the Stormhammer off for the finishing blow. But yeah, I mean, despite that huge discrepancy in CS like you're talking about, it is relatively even in terms of net worth just because of that first blood.
First blood's powerful.
Such a big difference.
Yeah.
Indeed.
But still, like...
Top lane looks like we're going to have the hoof stomp into air. Actually, it was an arrow into hoof stomp. The opposite combo, but it works to...
Yep.
Very
Don't try that in your pubs,
Secret.
guys. Do the hoof stomp first. Your Mirana will miss all her arrows if you don't set her up, so don't.
I mean, let's be real. In pubs, even the proper combo won't work. I mean, you need to actually communicate with your team without being toxic, and that's pretty difficult.
In pubs, your position 4 is a techies every game, or a Pudge, so you wouldn't have the arrow to begin with.
Pudge, the classic.
Oh, Puppey's in trouble. Puppey is probably toast. He is being tossed, and he is dead.
Ouch.
Do you know...
The old toss
Actually,
rupture.
I don't know this, but I'm pretty sure it works like this. So, you know some spells in the game have a Z-axis, right? Like toss,
Right.
where... Does that deal rupture damage? Or is it only the horizontal damage?
I would be really surprised if it did. I don't think so, but
because I don't know how far people, you know, how big the z-axis is. It might actually be like 200 height, but it looks like 2k. You know what I mean? Where,
right,
like if you're just a little bit, for example, the Mars Arena. I don't know what height it has, but if you're just knocked up a little bit into the air and then you get pushed by something, you fly out of the arena, even if you're like 10 range high.
Right.
I don't know if Rupture does any damage. It's a cool combo if it does some sort of bonus damage based on Z-axis, but I don't think so.
I'm sure somebody right now just opened
Tsunami said it doesn't.
Test this out.
That means it doesn't. Okay, it's over. Tsunami knows. He knows everything.
Thank you, Tsunami. Really appreciate that.
He knows.
Homing missile into the mid lane. Nisha Knight is time. Arrow's going to whiff as well. And the Rocket Barrage is more than enough damage to take out that pesky mid laner. But Chronosphere onto 2. Miracle's made his transition over. They're going to find a second kill for Team Nigma. All they lose is that position 4 Tiny. Now their cores are in the mid lane, chilling. So Miracle has to
great rotation though. Nisha's in a tough spot there. He has to choose. Do I try to Astral the rocket and set up Tiny? Or do I tank the rocket and hope I can get an Astral off after before I take all the combo damage? And he looked a little bit indecisive, and then when he tried to Astral, it was too late. And he got hit by the rocket, and it was just over. Yeah, very powerful combination there coming in from Nigma. And this is something I feel like they've really upgraded their play on a lot. Because you remember, we were casting Nigma when they were not doing so hot in a couple of their games. And I think something that has just changed a lot since Koro got back, I feel like the way they play around each other is a lot more like it used to be. Like, people are better at moving to the same plays, at coordinating aggression. It just seems like the communication is the main thing that really feels like it's
bottom lane. Trying to go for this tower is mind control. Gets off the blood right, which creates a little bit of space. But looks like this will be a kill going the way of Secret. One way or the other. That double edge. 1 second. Here it comes. Here it comes. Wait for it! Oh, one of the most satisfying spells in the game. I know a lot of people don't know that because nobody still plays Centaur Cinderin. The only thing that trumps it would probably have to be Culling Blade.
You love it because you hurt yourself. That's why you love it so much.
Yes, I'm a masochist at the end of the day. Toss into the call down. Nisha in a lot of trouble. Gets off the Astral onto himself. YapzOr with a nice arrow onto GH, which starts from the follow. And the extra damage coming out from the OD Astral. Enough to turn that around. So nicely
really
done.
Great counterplay. And that was the classic Astral yourself into the other target getting arrowed. Not Astral into arrow.
That's right.
Doing all of the fancy plays. There is a combo.
Hook stomp into arrow. A lot of damage being applied to Weeha. Stampede is there as well. Starstorm is enough to get the 1 kill. It's going to be a trade for now, though. YapzOr looks like he will find his way to go. They have Sentry just on the end and Purification to finish him off. So it's a 2 for 1, but they do get the gyro for Secret.
Dire structures are fortified.
And the slow but steady lead, as we're getting used to seeing this patch, is big boy top lane right now. 1k gold ahead of Void. It's classic Sven. Sven farms more than you. You need to solve Sven.
Oh, and he got an Iron Talon too.
Do have some solutions. Oh, wonderful. Oh, how convenient. Oh,
wonderful. Well, Void did get one as well, so it is even.
See if we can get this tower denied. Very nicely done. Made sure to re-aggro the creeps onto himself as well, so only the siege creep was hitting the tower, and calculated it very nicely. So great deny. Going for the Veil build, he did that the last time he played this mid gyro as well, so playing very high tempo based. Gives him a lot of burst damage in the chrono. It has really good synergy with both his Tiny and Bloodseeker, and even technically the Omniknight, since the change to Veil, going away from just being magic reduction or magic resistance reduction for the enemy targets to being spell amp. Basically any type of damage synergizes with it, which is why Bloodseeker started picking it up, because suddenly it worked with their pure damage spells. Whereas in the past it would have been pretty terrible. So you could argue that all of Secret's heroes benefit.
Weeha GH. Run into probably the last hero they want to, which is YapzOr. Avalanche is not going to connect, and Home Mimic will be taken out. So for Weeha's build, what do you go after Veil? Like, are you committing 100% to the magic damage, or you end up going like some sort of hybrid?
I think last time you went for an E-Blade, right? I don't know if that was the next item after the Veil, or if you got an in-between transition item. This seems like a pretty damn hard game to play without BKB. You have the Omniknight backing you up, but realistically... Oh, it's going to be a trade.
No.
Bottom lane. Size stats of Chrono. They did use both Chrono and Rupture on it, though, so you probably take that. Yes. Killing the Tiny for 2 big ultis somewhere else, that's pretty good. Where were we? Gyro. So I think...
E-Blade. So E-Blade Dagon, right? Easy. We saw that last game, actually.
Like, if you don't go BKB, there are so many ways you die in this game. On a common gyro, like if you're playing classic carry gyro, BKB is mandatory this game. You're playing against like 17 stuns and magic burst. So either you rely on Omni playing behind you, or if Omni is primarily protecting the Void, you might have to itemize for yourself to stay alive. We'll see.
Stampede to set up this Astral into the arrow. Will connect, and that will be the death of Mr. Miracle.
No risks taken there.
Absolutely death.
Get him out of there.
Yeah, Nisha looks like he's going to be able to TP out. Mind Control still working on the Atos. It's a couple of heroes that have attempted to TP out. Obviously, the Chrono was forced as a result from the last time around. But once he gets that, can at least have a bit more of a presence on the map here. Oh. But speaking of presence, he's going to get Astral himself. Arrow to follow again. Oh, not going to connect this time around, but still will find the kill. Gets off the Rupture for good effect.
He's human.
Know that they are able to...
YapzOr is human.
It's true. He missed an arrow. Is that one of those?
Did you hear T Governor before the game that he was like, these guys haven't been playing so many pubs lately? There it is. If YapzOr plays Mirana every day, he doesn't miss that one, man.
Yeah, that's very true. But
unbelievable.
In mid lane, Matu taking a ton of damage. Actually gonna pop his ult and then die immediately after. Puppy was in the vicinity. That's probably why he went for it, but ended up going for the life drain onto Zai. Arrow's gonna connect onto GH. Do they have enough damage to actually finish him off? It doesn't look like it. All they lose is Sven and that. I mean, it's not as long of a cooldown as it used to be for God's Strength. Still, not having that to work with for quite a while. I think he was banking on Puppy life draining him, but he just was a little bit too far away.
And it's also just awkward, right? Because if you want that life drain to be really effective, you want to decrepify first. But if you decrepify Sven, what are you doing, right?
Right.
So you can't really do that. And I was thinking about whether this Pugna build is the right in this game for the reasons we've talked about, right? Like, it's not very good defensively in this game against the Dire lineup, and it's also not that good offensively some of the time. It's not good with Sven. And it's only good with OD if OD has ulti ready, but for the Arcane Orb, it has like anti-synergy. So I'm debating if Puppy's skill build in this game is actually the best, if he should have maxed out Nether Blast just to push more waves, maybe deal more structural damage, or if there was some sort of interesting build with a higher level on Nether Ward for all of these brawls that we're seeing play out in the game.
They just smoked. Nisha didn't pop to that illusion, obviously, but used the Astral, so now they know that they're in the vicinity.
Yep.
Also in the vicinity.
Here's Yule.
Yule into Arrow, connect, but there's not going to be any follow-up right now. The Chronosphere onto just Nisha. Looks like the Bloodright will be there as well to finish him off with ease. And just like that, Secret now on the run. YapzOr has to use that Moonlight Shadow.
Get Atos.
TP out. Atos is there. And Bloodright to follow. Oh, leaps out though. Do they have vision? Another sentry placed. Nope. Wait, what? What? They're literally right next to him. Okay, he's gonna run right into them. YapzOr's like, I'll make it a little bit easier for you guys. Although Stampede is there, Atos to follow. Looks like he will finally. No, he's still alive. Mind Control finally gets the right click off of mid lane. Is really where the fight is right now. Miracle cleaved down. Puppy using that heal to high effect. GA a little bit too late as they lose both the Gyro and the Void in mid. And the tier 1 tower as well.
And this Sven is a big boy.
You said that before.
Big boy. Yeah, but he's a bigger boy than before. Full on puberty mode.
He's obese is what you're saying. Yep. Okay, gets knocked into the
American interpretation of what I just said. All right, here comes. Push into Kuro.
Yep. Rupture is there onto Matu, though. He's going to TP out, it looks like. Oh, Sanity's Eclipse not enough to take out Kuroki. Of course, that is just a position.
He only had 2 charges on the Eclipse counter. That is really weak.
That's true.
Not enough in the tank there. Even with level 4 decrep, that did not get the job done completely. And that's actually kind of a big deal. Sanity being on cooldown gives Nigma a window of opportunity now for 2 minutes to maybe make an attack on the mid tower. If they can somehow find an opening when they have Chrono ready, there is just this one big piece of teamfight presence that is lacking from the Radiant. They would even have GA about 30 seconds before Eclipse is up, which is one of their good GA counters, so might be worth trying your luck with that. And I feel like you should, right? You must be feeling like Sven is out farming you. These players are super experienced. This is a Sven who's barely been countered. He's racking up the farm. The Stormhammer Dispel talent is coming up in probably 2 minutes. And that's trouble. That is definitely something they're going to have to deal with. With that BKB coming up as well.
Mid lane
could be an issue.
Yule's into Stomp, but the Heavenly Grace is there. Why does every spell for Omniknight have to be so long? Heavenly Grace, Guardian Angel. You can say GA, but saying HG is awful. There's just no good way to... You could say W, I guess, but yeah, people hate that.
If you want to trigger people.
Yeah, Weehaw in
it's
the
good
meantime,
if you're casting League, I heard. So go for that.
Well, Han as
Maybe
well.
you would say that in, what's it called? Valorant as well.
No. Maybe occasionally. Puppy, it looks like he finds Kuroki.
Arrow.
Great, is there Arrow? Does connect onto Mind Control. I thought that might have hit Control Summoner, but instead it was Mind Control. Gets off the Rupture. Hitting a little bit of
that's a good combo though.
Chronosphere onto 2 heroes. Weehaw just in range for the rocket barrage as well, as Zai is taking the brunt of the damage here. But now Miracle in a lot of trouble. Looks like he's getting life drain. We'll have to time walk out, but there's the Avatar into the blood right again. Matu trying to cleave his way out of this, but it's not to be this time around. Nisha looks like they'll find 1 kill on the back end, and it was Weehaw, but it's a 3-for-1. And YapzOr might be the 4th. We'll sidestep the one. Have 1 leap available, but the bash is there, and that is now a 1-for-4 for Team Nigma.
That was such a good fight for Nigma to take. It was a 2-for-4, right? He bought back on mind control, so it's like it's not a terrible loss for Secret. They got a buyback from a core, but to me, one of the key things in this fight, first of all, awesome spell casting between Weehaw and Miracle. They're getting the great chrono into call down combo, but also the fact that, again, Sanity's Eclipse wasn't ready. That was a pretty long fight, and some of Nigma's heroes were hanging around on like 20-25% health. That could have been a really big difference maker, but Nigma, they know it's not ready, so they're willing to take this fight at all costs.
I forgot how long that cooldown is. 160
it's really long.
seconds, and it doesn't even scale. No. I didn't know that. That's pretty crazy.
It's the window of opportunity you have against OD. I think it's actually really crucial for the balance of the hero that spell's cooldown is that long, because it's a pretty crazy spell later in the game, and you could argue if the hero isn't very much in meta that it's one of the knobs you could turn to balance it a bit more, make it a bit stronger to lower that cooldown. But honestly, I think it's cool that such an insane huge AoE damage ult has that long of a cooldown when it scales with your... Like, it scales inherently with your hero compared to something like Zeus ulti, which is more like a static amount. This is like theoretically limitless in damage. Oh,
nice stomp onto 2 from Zai. Stampede to follow. Nisha gets off the Sanity's Eclipse onto 2. Still taking forever to take out the Bloodseeker, but they finally do it along with the Tiny now. A 2-for-0. Does this open up the Roshan? Matu still has God Strength, so absolutely. Chronosphere not available for another 30 seconds. I'm sure they have that at least somewhat timed. And Roche already at half HP and doesn't look like they're not going to even contest.
It's super safe for Secret because they know Mind Control has no buyback. So worst case scenario, it's a 4v5. You have Sven God Strength running and you have positioning advantage. It's pretty straightforward. Weehaw is going to try to tickle them here, but it's too late.
Okay. Actually kind of close to sniping the Roche kill.
That would have been cute if the second rocket had killed it, actually.
Yeah. Matu ends up with the Aegis. We've talked about this before, but used to be one of the worst Aegis carriers in the game. Well, one of, but I think because of the changes to the way that ult works now, the fact that it lasts so much longer, it's actually not that big of a deal.
It is still a transformation hero, though. If you do get the kill on the God Strength Aegis, it's pretty impactful.
Now, would you have expected it on Nisha this game, perhaps? Working on a BKB right now.
I think the logic is that Matu will be hitting the towers, right? So if you're looking to use this Aegis to get objective advantage, then putting it on the Sven is probably good. That's the main thing I see, because in my opinion, OD is an excellent Aegis carrier. I think it actually is really, really good, because what it would do effectively for Nigma is when they initiate into a team fight, they now have to choose, if it was an OD, they would have to choose between, do we try to kill this OD who has Aegis, or do we try to go on someone else who can get saved? But now the choice is pretty simple. If you get a chance to go on this OD, you gotta take it, right? So, yeah, I kind of would have liked to see it on OD for that reason from a fighting perspective, but if it's from a pushing perspective, this makes a lot of sense to me.
Oh, wow. So Zai has the pipe, Blink Pipe, obviously, right now. He's actually working for an Ags as a third item. Pretty cool.
Great item against
We
Chrono.
don't see it that early. So yeah, if you're not in the Chrono, you can just mitigate all that damage. Pretty nice.
I mean, yeah.
Weehaw, he does have the Ghost Scepter, so we'll be going E-Blade. Has ridiculous move speed now with boosted travel and Faded Brooch. The old combo. The Wombo combo from the move speed perspective.
Effectively, what you need to do in this game is survive Chrono, right? If you survive the Chrono against this dire lineup and some eventual BKBs or outlasting Heavenly Grace, then your OD and your Sven should be expected to take over the fight eventually. So 40% damage reduction in that Stampede is really good. It's a 4-second duration. It's about the same as Chrono. So with that, GH. Whoa.
Yeah, you might
whoa,
here. He gets cleaved down very easily. Zai with a nice hook stomp initiation. Kuroki trying to get off the GA, but that cast animation is too much for him. Does have buyback available as Matu pops that BKB. Rupture was expended onto Zai in the backside here as Weehaw will get Stormhammer in the face. And right-clicked for the win. So double buyback for Nigma despite losing Weehaw. Now it's a 5 versus 4. Matu's just going to focus on the tier 2 tower. Zai finds Miracle. Hoofstomp is there into the arrow. Do they have the follow-up damage is the question. Stormhammer, not going to be there.
That was a rare blunder from GH. I don't know what if that was miscommunication or what exactly the plan was. He just jumps in on the Pugna completely alone, gets blown up, and the follow-up wasn't really there. They didn't get a chrono off from it. They didn't get a Blood Rite combo with it. They didn't get any gyro spells off, so they just fed away a Tiny. He bought back, but they already lost Kuro. And now they need to make something out of this. They'll find a little Pugna.
A little bit of Pugna there. No need
They
to
need
get
the
off
OD,
the
though. That's the big
Astral
kill.
Spirit. Yeah, this would be really big, but Kuroki can only chase with
He has
the
BK.
2 levels of
He's not gonna
degen
die.
aura. That times for him, but GH links in.
If they chrono him,
Into the chrono, into the air, just like you were talking about, Cinderin.
he's fine.
Off that BKB, gets the Astral off onto the Void. Still has Sanity's Eclipse to work with, has 8 stacks right now of the charges. Miracle attempting to run away now, but Matu looks like he'll be chased a little bit here, but the damage applied to OD is out of control. They're going to be able to find that kill with ease. It's a 2 for nothing now. All said and done, Matu attempting to TP out will be successful with that BKB. Homing Missile on its way for YapzOr. And with GH here, that's going to be another easy one.
He was not fine.
Turnaround here.
Uh-oh.
And Zai, Atos into homing missile, into call down as well. Puppy might be keeping into his potential death. Gets off the Decrepify on himself, and it's going to take extra damage as a result. Will die shortly after. And now Zai looks to be next on the list. Secret are just crumbling all of a sudden. Still, the tier 1 is up. Likely they'll be able to get that, although it's very healthy at the moment. And the death timers
That's
are not
such a
very
huge
long.
fight because of the timing of it as well, right? You get 4 bounty runes. If Matsu isn't able to get over there, he's not. He won't get there in time. So not only did you get all of these kills, you get 4 bounties, and it felt like you desperately needed that because of what happened top. You lost your top tier 2 tower, you used 2 support buybacks for basically nothing. And then you just kept finding one after the next there. It's possible Secret could have maybe got out there just losing Puppy only on that Pugna, but instead they stuck around a little bit extra and got more heroes caught. And while it looked like Nisha might be able to pull that off, his BKB eventually just expired, and then they just blast him.
Well,
So
speaking of expiring, Matu's Aegis went down, so
Yep.
in the end,
The top
not...
tower is under attack.
I mean, obviously they're going to play a little bit differently as a result of having the Aegis on the Sven, but Nisha was the one to fall there and not Matu. We'll be going for Ags next, though. That's when he really steps it up to the next level. Only 400 away, actually, from finishing that. Speaking of Ags, I wanted to talk to you about OD. Not queuing up Ags right now. Looks like a Bloodstone. Are you expecting... like, back when OD was a little bit more popular, Ags was like the 100... Like, most of the time, you pick it up as first item in a lot of games.
yeah,
Have things changed in that regard?
I'm not completely sure what the logic is here because like usually, hang on, mid lane.
Matu not scared at all. Gets
Rupture.
ruptured and will just stand in place.
Just
That,
be
of
careful not
course,
to
is
get
the
tossed.
counter.
Oof, nice sidestep from Matsu there.
Yeah. Rupture about
Great
to
awareness.
end now.
I think if OD goes Axe here, you leave yourself too vulnerable, right? That's the main problem. It feels really good to have this item when you can reliably cast, but looking at the dire lineup and the fact that you have no reliable save in your team, if you get caught, you're dead. Now you have double secured yourself with Glimmer and BKB, and if you get Axe now, it feels too late. So the Axe is really, really good for saving teammates and for building up in fights where you're at the advantage. But in this game, I honestly really like the choice to not go it, just because it makes Nigma's fight construction more complicated. If OD has an Axe, it's literally every fight is if we can jump OD, we just kill him, and then the fights will play out so much easier. Now you need to think twice, you need to execute it better. You probably need to chrono, actually, to get the kill as well. So, looks pretty good to me.
Now, Weehaw has finished his E-Blade and is queuing up a Sheep Stick. So just going the full caster build. Pretty freaking cool to see. See if that ends up working out for him. As Secret only with a 2k lead right now. They were about at the 8k net worth lead at one point before that disastrous fight.
Yeah, that was a big, big swing. I guess now they've converted some of their net worth into value, though, right? Like, in that last fight, having an 8k lead doesn't really matter if it's like 3k sitting on a hero that's unused, which was Matu. So the effective lead in that fight wasn't that big. Whereas now they have that Aghanim completed, so that net worth has been realized. YapzOr has a mech. I think he didn't have that before either. So.
Yep. Well, we talked about Zai queuing up that Ags. He has made very little headway towards finishing it.
Yeah.
Basically only by the point booster right now.
Yep.
So still far away from that 40% damage mitigation.
Radiant's bottom tower
Used to be 60% damage reduction when it first came out.
Yeah, and Stampede used to stun. It was really great.
I know you're being sarcastic, but I actually do miss those days.
Of course you do. That's when your hero was broken.
I don't know if I told you this, other than the other 1,000 times, but when it did stun, I was ranked 6th in the world on Centaur for like 5 hours.
Yeah, that's because you were the one who played most Centaur games in those 5 hours.
That is correct.
He is dead.
He is dead indeed.
Oh, here comes Superman.
The buyback. Superman indeed. Is that enough to actually take out Kuroki? It is easily. Pops the BKB, but he's ruptured right now, so has to stand in place again. So it's a 1-for-1 with the buyback on the puppy. Homing missile connects onto Zai, so will likely not be able to follow this up. I mean, not the worst for Nigma. They forced the buyback. Now Sven ult is used. Although
yeah,
Roche is
Roche.
up.
Dire's middle tower is under
It depends
attack.
if you can take this fight. They should be looking for it. They know this is happening. They don't have the smoke, though, so it's kind of difficult to get the jump.
Is under
Is
attack.
ending kind of soon here.
Maybe they will get cold feet.
I don't know if they can get this. GH?
He has no
He's
buyback.
going to get decimated. That should open it up quite a bit. Although this will be a slower Roche, so they don't really have that much damage now.
I don't think Secret care as long as they get it. There's nothing on the map they're going to lose for it. There's no threat of losing a tier 3 tower or barracks. There's bounty runes, but they should have control of half of them still with their map placement. So they'll get this, and it's big. I wonder if you give it to Nisha this time. It seems like they will put it on Matu once again.
Yeah, cheese is available as well.
Yeah, I assume you give that one to Odi then.
Your shot
Puppy life drained so hard that he
Matu.
got visible to Bloodseeker.
Yeah, cheese to Nisha. Okay. Well, we'll see how that works. I'm sure they're going to try to make that work a little bit better this time around. Miracle still has a DD, just hit level 20.
This is an unexpected smoke, by the way.
Chronosphere onto Nisha.
Really nice.
Well, it's a good thing he didn't have Aegis, honestly. That would have felt like a waste, because he would have died twice almost certainly.
Yeah. That's such a good play call because you still have a dead Tiny, but you have some key information. Zai showed bottom to push out that wave, and you see the OD and you know it doesn't have Aegis, so you just immediately just full rush.
No buyback available.
Really good E-Blade.
He's going to get hooked up again. Double stun, enough to take out that pesky Omniknight. And there's a Stormhammer again onto Miracle. Does he actually have enough damage to finish off Miracle? Doesn't look like it, but he will have enough to take out Weehaw. So a beautiful fight for Secret, despite being one man down from the beginning of this fight. But they knew that Chronosphere is down, of course. Mind control forced out the BKB. YapzOr pursuing, very little mana to speak of, and is successful in the TP.
Secret have a very clear... Oh, let's see if this breaks up. I think we're done here. Maybe. Matu's thinking about a backstab move.
is under attack.
I don't think that would be wise. He doesn't either.
He wants to.
I was kind of thinking about it.
Puppy's like, no.
So the thing that's pretty clear in these fights is that Secret have a very clear, like they have a pretty clear game plan of how they want to take fights, right? It's if we see Omni, we're jumping in with Sven. Like, if you take that guy out of the picture, like you said, you have a dead OD, but there's no Chrono, and if Omni dies, their other heroes become exceptionally vulnerable. Since there's no BKBs on the Dire side, as soon as Omni's out, they have no defensive capabilities anymore. And then the Void can't stand his ground and fight this Sven yet. He's not strong enough when all the stuns come into play. But he is under these conditions. Well, Aegis is still up. That is the shortest Astral in history.
Yeah, good old status resist for the win.
Some damage.
Yeah, Odie looks like he will get clipped by the Blood Right. Takes a lot of damage. Still has the cheese, of course. Still have Aegis. God Strength up in 20, so just going to reset here for Secret. Let's go over some items for Nigma. Miracle, SNY, Mask of Madness, Scotty. Kuroki is the one I want to talk about. He's going for Blink Dagger, so typically you see like the Aether Lens, right, for the cast range, but of course you do have Telescope. Now, is it overkill to get Aether Lens on top of Telescope?
It's just way shorter range than Blink, right? I think in this game, when you see how the fights play out, Kuro genuinely needs to stand 1k range behind the fight when it starts. So that even if he has lens, he's still exposed to getting caught by Sven. But with Dagger, you can stand it way behind in the tree line. And honestly, it's about this one good spell cast. That's what he needs. He needs one good Grace plus GA. And then he's done his job. That doesn't automatically win them the fight, but that's kind of the highest impact he can have. So I think this is the perfect item. Sometimes, I agree, Lens would be a great choice. It's just like more... From a consistency perspective, if you want to cast your spells multiple times throughout the fight, and you're at risk of taking some sort of random damage so your dagger gets cancelled, like if you're playing against Zeus ulti or Haunt or whatever it is, then Lens is probably a more attractive choice. But in this case, there's no global damage, so he'll always be able to blink when the fight breaks out.
So Weehaw waited until tier 3 items to drop his tier 1 Faded Brooch, but he replaced it with a tier 2 item that he had for a long time already, which is the Dragon Skill. I find that kind of interesting.
That is very interesting. I don't want to think too much about that. I don't think it makes very much sense.
I just like bringing up neutral items. OD gets the Astral off. I bring up Faded Brooch literally every time. Looks like this will be an easy one onto Weehaw. And they will find him. And actually going to use the Mirana ult in tow. Matu, Stormhammer not going to connect this time, so retreat for Nigma is successful.
Dire's middle tower is under
Are you sure you don't want to talk about Faded Brooch a little bit more?
I mean, we can talk about Faded Brooch, but him picking up Dragon Skill when he just did seems... I don't know how much to read into that. He's like, I'm dying. What do we have to keep me alive?
It's always interesting.
I mean, there's a Craggy code. Oh, should probably
deep inside the base is Matu. Buyback is available for Weehaw. Matu still has the BKB and Aegis, of course, has a full Satanic as well. Chronosphere now on to 3. They're going to be able to take out Pugna very easily. Gyro buys back in the game. Nisha pops the BKB on the backside. Centaur actually uses his ult while ruptured, but will be fine for now. Miracle continue to get right-click. Arrow connects into the Sandy's Eclipse and double edge. That is enough to take out Miracle. 80 seconds on the deck. Meanwhile, Matu continuing to do so much damage on the backside. He is 1v3ing right now while his team is attempting to take racks. Matu still with the Aegis, by the way, but he is the building taker. Yeah, into the literal fountain goes. He will drop, and the Aegis expires during that. Oh my lord. Typical Matu style. You love to see it, depending on your perspective, of course.
I mean, it's entertaining no matter who you're cheering for, right?
It's true. Well, not always. But yes.
Entertaining doesn't mean you laugh. It means it's exciting. Okay, let's change the word. It's exciting no matter who you're cheering for.
Very exciting.
That was exciting. Yeah, so a lot of crazy stuff. Honestly, a bit of a scrappy fight. Like, Miracle was completely out in no man's land on his own there. Again, no BKB means when Heavenly Grace ends, he's super susceptible. He just got killed from 60% HP, had no response. When these stuns connect and OD gets to wail away at him. So Sven created a lot of space, and I feel like the big problem there was Matu going for the Stormhammer on BS. If he hadn't done that, that was a super good fight for Secret, and there was no buyback on Void, so I think you could have taken the lane of Barracks too. But as soon as he Stormhammers, the BKB was still ready on mind control, so he doesn't die, and the counter plays make it easy when you're that far out of position. So a little bit too wild, probably.
And it looks like the Moonlight Shadow will save Zai this time around. I believe, if I clicked on him correctly, yeah, he does have Ags now. So we've been hyping it up all game long because it is Centaur and it is Ags.
What do you think about this Space Invaders rocket?
I know that you hate it, first of all. I'm just going to say that.
Hate is a big word. I don't hate it.
Yeah, well, you hate kids, so it's not a big enough word.
What does Space Invaders have to do with kids?
Well,
and why do I hate kids?
Invaders.
Why do you keep saying I hate kids?
Because you do. You hate Invoker's voice, and he's a kid.
I don't hate that either. You're using the word hate way too liberally.
Cinder, I don't know if you know this, but I'm American, so that's very normal usage of the word hate. It's very common trait.
Yep.
I think it's fine. I understand why people wouldn't like it, though. I personally do like it. I don't love it, but I think it's cool. Why? What are your thoughts, Cinder?
I don't know. I hope Valve don't get sued.
Oh, that's why you brought it up. I see.
No, it wasn't actually. No, it's just. I don't know what the word is. It's one of the crazier items in a way. They found Matu.
Gonna jump in with that Chronos
It's gonna get
Spear.
saved. So, oh, this is not a good engage from
Save
Nigma.
him for now.
This can't
G8
possibly
on
be good.
completely wrong side of the river right now. He's just getting right-clicked down very easily. Matu still has the BKB as well. GA is going to be popped, but Tiny just gets cleaved down easily. Nisha in the meantime pops the BKB. Still has the cheese. Arrow's not going to connect. And now Nigma on the run. GH buys back into the game. Zai has already used the Stampede. Matu just getting healed from the backside. Puppy with the Aether Lens can stay from a distance. Well, right? Looks like it'll connect. Matu has to pop the Satanic in addition. Actually has the leveler in his inventory as well. Sandy's Eclipse is there. Is this going to be enough to take out anybody right now? As GH bought back into the game. Miracle. A lot of damage mitigation now, but he's getting right-click from Nisha on the backside. But they do find the Sven, and Nisha looks to be next.
Yes,
no Sandy's Eclipse. Pops the cheese, but he's completely outnumbered right now. YapzOr trying to jump in. Kuroki saving mind control again. Zai trying to help his teammate. Nisha continuing to right-click. Weeha staying alive throughout all of this. Pops the E-Blade on himself, but Puppy finally gets that kill. Miracle looks to be next. So Secret starting to come back in this fight despite losing Sven relatively early on. It's a 1-for-3 if you want to count that buyback onto GH.
That's such a nice Minotaur Horn usage as well. I don't think Nigma accounted for that at all, that Nisha has that item. So when BKB is down, he has another save. And use that horn to stay safe again. And yeah, now it's bad. Like, I think, to me, Nigma recovering that fight and killing Sven was actually a surprising outcome. I think when you chrono Sven and all you force with it is a Stampede and one Astral, and Sven has like 80% health when he comes out of it and all cooldowns ready, that's probably just flat out a hard disengage at that point. Like, them getting this outcome was not that bad.
Oh, mind control has to use his BKB. Astral's going to save him from the Blood Rite. Still ruptured though. Tower still has a bit of HP, but you know, the old Retaliate doing work. We'll finally take it out. Of course,
Give him a bit of
now
the
that the
suck
building,
here, probably.
now that the tower is down, they don't really have great building takers with. I guess you do have Pugna, but it's position 5. Either way, going to attempt to get this Rax. Still, a lot of time left, so it looks like they'll be successful. Gyro not for another 30. They know that GH bought back already.
Dire's middle barracks are
Miracle
under attack.
is up in 10. Is now level 25 for Mr. Sven. How big of a boy is he now? How obese is Sven?
Dire's middle barracks
Has the
are under
DD.
attack.
And the growth curve has definitely been stifled a little bit. Probably got a little bit of a ban on his sizing.
So he went on a bit of a diet temporarily.
It's not a very good diet. He still gained weight, but I mean, less. So I guess it's an improvement.
Because he's
Switched from super
Getting a little
size
exercise.
to
Dire are stunned.
big meals.
big meal. Oh my. So this is a refresher shard. See if they end up putting this on Sven or not.
Fallen to the ring.
Backpack for now.
Nigma.
It is really good on him. It's double Satanic BKB and GDS.
So stomp initiation, but there. Oh, the arrow connects after the fact. Oh my God. Destroys Kuroki. And another Stormhammer to finish off a couple more. 3 dead in the blink of a freaking eye. Now Miracle all alone. Gonna have to dodge that arrow. Gets Stormhammered from the backside. There's the hoof stomp, and there is the damage as Secret. What a fight.
That is such a nasty use of the refresher, right? Like, you see it and you think, yeah, you can get 2 Stormhammers, but it's mainly going to be double God Strength, double Satanic, and BKB. But Matsu just saw an awesome opportunity there. And that is not a play you expect as Nigma, that he gets a double stun. So he jumps the Omni, kills him straight away, and then gets a double stun in the backline afterwards when Omni is dealt with. It was a flat-out one-shot, by the way. And again, find Omni, kill Omni. Kuro just... he can't get caught by Sven ever in this game. There's just no way.
Dire's middle barracks
And he did. And then he's
Save
dead.
that God Strength with that refresher charge. GGs are called. I mean, with this leveler intact, they take these buildings so freaking fast. GG's called. So game 1 goes to Secret. And we talked about how the OD was